Tell me when.
We're live, Michelle. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Jennifer?
I'm doing fabulous. Thank you for being here with me today. I'm a little bit nervous. Are you? It's my first time going live ever.
Yeah, it's okay. It'll be all right.
That's right. Well, we are here today to talk about the real estate market in Wilmington, North Carolina. And it's completely, Michelle and I were talking earlier. Do we call it crazy? Do we call it competitive? Do we call it complicated?
All of the above.
All of the above. Amen, sister. What is happening right now? I mean, obviously the interest rates have started to go up. That is a good thing because that starts slowing down the inflation, which has taken off. And a lot of people are asking me if the interest rates going up, if that has affected our market. I have not seen it affect our market yet. Have you, Michelle?
Well, I don't think drastically at all, but talking to a couple of our preferred lenders this week, the interest rates are definitely going up. I think they've all said they're close to 6 now, and a couple of them have predicted that maybe we hit the 7s by the end of the year, but it's a little too soon to probably tell. But I think for a lot of like our first time home buyers and stuff, it certainly has impacted them personally because it decreases their purchase power. So you think of the couple people on the team, the new construction folks that have been building for a year, and now all of a sudden, they're getting ready to close, their house is ready to close, interest rates have gone up and they're priced out of that home now. So, I think that does kind of hit on that complicated, it's making things a little complicated.
I would agree. What we have going for us here locally is Wilmington is the fastest growing city in North Carolina right now. That's huge. North Carolina itself is the second, I don't know how to word it, most people moving inbound moving people of any state, which is huge. I mean, people are coming in all over.
Yeah.
Have you seen that too?
We're still seeing a lot from New York, New Jersey, California, all those high tax states, and people are kind of cashing in on their equity and moving here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me work by the beach. Retire by the beach. Yeah.
It's beautiful. Our taxes are still pretty cheap. Our weather is fabulous, although today it's hot. Oh, I'm dying. And our prices, I mean, they have gone up like everybody. We've gone up with, I think, 24%. Michelle's that we were looking at 24% from last year. But we're still priced pretty low compared to other areas.
Those areas. Yeah. I think, in looking at the numbers that we kind of looked at that, we've seen our price point in the area obviously increase. And, for
I'm going to try to figure out how to go to that screen, Michelle.
Okay.
With the price point in the area.
Yeah. 350 and under are still extremely competitive, and there's just not a lot of inventory out there. But our price point has gone up this past year, and now I think our fastest growing kind of segment was that over 400,000. Yeah. Okay. Forget this.
I couldn't figure out how to get that thing up there. Sorry. That'll be for next time. Yeah. And then you had your listing that just went live yesterday.
Yeah. And I think that's that price point that we're still in. I had very desirable neighborhood in Leland, and we went live yesterday at 357.5, just over 1,500 square foot home, new HVAC, updated flooring, paint throughout, a couple other things, but just not a lot in that price point and in that area and that size. So I think we went live yesterday late afternoon, and we have had through tomorrow 14 showings already. I have multiple offers already, and so we're calling for best offer tomorrow afternoon, and shutting it down because it's they're inundated with those showing requests. So
yeah, it's stressful.
Yeah,
I think it's stressful. Yeah, absolutely, showing it so much and having your house perfectly clean and having everything, but it's a good time. I mean, but it is stressful. I think anytime you move, it's one of the most stressful times of your life.
Yeah.
But with something you said, I was it triggered a thought, but now I have lost that thought.
Well,
So-
I think, we're starting to see, it feels like we're starting to see a little bit more inventory come on the market where people that have been sitting on the fence about selling, knowing that the interest rates are climbing, are jumping off of that fence and getting their house listed, before the end of the year here. So I think it is still a great time to sell if you are on the fence. But that's one of the things, I've kind of been seeing. I think we're starting to see some of the homes that maybe need some work. That, before they would still fly off the market, but if it needs some work, or maybe it's kind of pushing that price point and a little overpriced, they're starting to sit a little bit. We're still not talking months, but maybe a week. So
But it's not hours.
No, it's not hours anymore usually.
And I'm seeing you are still seeing the bidding war in that price point,
Yeah.
but it's not that bidding frenzy. I don't feel like it was 3 months ago.
No, it's not, 14 offers or 20 offers. You're maybe
sight unseen in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've seen most of the ones that I have listed, they're coming in at list price or maybe slightly above, but I'm not seeing really going huge over the price, over the list price anymore. Are you?
I think it just depends on the property, and the popularity and the neighborhood. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. And then with due diligence, have you seen, so due diligence here is a non-refundable check that is written to the seller for the seller to accept your offer. It actually, the way the contract reads is it is the buyer's right to terminate within the due diligence timeframe, but it is a check that you give to the seller, which is not normal, what I have found in most other states. I think Florida calls it an option fee. The other states might call it something else, but we call it due diligence here. And, 6 months ago, I was seeing, even on a $300,000 house, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. It's non-refundable. It's a check to the seller. It does come off the purchase price. But are you still seeing, I'm not seeing that. I think it's more like, depending on the price point, but, 5 to 10,000, depending on,
Yeah. I think that's hopefully coming back in check a little bit.
Yeah, well, that's what
we do that to ourselves a little bit.
Yeah, that's when it was crazy, especially for like first-time home buyers. And that's like what you were saying, because you're thinking about how much money you have to put down in due diligence fee that is non-refundable. And I mean, if you only have $10,000 to your name and you have to put that down, that's kind of scary.
It is scary. And if you're going above asking price, then you're worried about the appraisal, and you have to come up with that money on top of that. So definitely a lot of considerations in being competitive on your offer these days.
Back to it being a complicated market.
Yep, exactly.
But and the prices are still continuing to go up. I've had a lot of people ask me, is now the right time to buy or sell? That is definitely depending on it depends on, it's an individual basis. I feel like we're still seeing the prices go up. They've gone up. I just looked from June of last year to June of this year. They've gone up 15% more. So I think if you're going to buy, I don't think waiting is I have a lot of people say, I'm going to wait. I'm going to see what the interest rates are going to do. I don't think the interest rates are going to come back down. I think that they're going to continue to go up. And I think prices are going to continue to go up. Now, I don't think that they'll go up as quickly as they did last year, where they went up, I think it was like 24%.
Right.
I don't think it will go up that fast, but they will continue to go up. All the predictions, everything I'm reading, everything I'm studying, everything. I'm flying all over the country to meet with, the top agents all over. Like, just got back from Texas, and before that, Las Vegas, and then Arizona. And everybody's pretty much saying the same thing, that the prediction is that it's going to continue to go, but more historically like it did, anywhere from 3 to 5%, maybe 7%, continue to go up and then eventually kind of level off. But I don't think it's going to go back down anytime soon.
Yeah, no, the demand is definitely still, there in our area. And, I think, people just kind of have to adjust their expectations a little bit. So, how would you tell a first-time home buyer how to adjust their expectations if they're concerned about the interest rate going up?
No, that's a really good question. For one thing, I would want to know how much money they had to put down because, if we're talking about somebody with $5,000 or $10,000, to me, it's just scary if you don't have, not that you have the money to lose, but if you have a very little amount in savings, God, how would I tell a first time home buyer? That's a great question. I guess it would depend on the money they had in savings and what their price point was. I mean, if they're approved for $100,000, this is not an area for you. Not as a first time home buyer. There's nothing listed for $100,000. I mean, our average price point is what, $425? I think that's what we just looked at in the Cape Fear region for a single family home. So, you listed one at $350. I've got one listed at $250, but the one I have listed at $250 needs a lot of work. And I would not recommend that for a first time home buyer.
Well, and I think that's something, having that conversation with people to adjust your expectations. Before we would be like, hey, if you could get 95% of what you want in the house, that's probably the house for you. Now I feel like it's kind of like if you can get 80% of what you want in the house, you might want to consider putting an offer in on that one, or looking for something that has been on the market for a few days, instead of competing against that one that has 95% of what you want. I think in talking with the lenders too, as the interest rates go up, we talked a lot about this in our team meeting this last week, and looking at an ARM, and looking at the
10-year ARMs, hell, even now a 15-year ARM.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a 0.5% lower than whatever the interest rates are going for at that particular day.
And what's the average that somebody lives in their house? 5 years?
Yeah, 5 to 8 years is the average. And in 15 years, I mean, the interest, I would certainly hope within 15 years, the interest rates would come back down, so yeah, I think
the
15-year, and they have the incentive, they still have first time and buyer incentive programs out there. The issue is going to be to get the seller, if the seller would accept that.
Sure.
Right. So if it had multiple offers, again, I think it's very much on an individual basis.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Well, and I think too, you talked about incentives. I think the other thing we're kind of seeing with the real estate market right now too is with new construction. For the first time in 2 years, we're seeing some of the builders actually offering incentives again and starting to lower their prices instead of raising them by $20,000 every 2 months because of construction costs. So, that may be hopefully a positive on some inventory coming up.
Absolutely. Yeah. And inventory is coming up. I got 4 new listings this week. I mean, and now truth be known, 3 of them have gone under contract, but it's more than I've had, I feel like I think we just like 12% the inventory's gone up since last year. It's still not a lot, but at least we have something to sell now.
Yes. Yeah, a little bit. It's sneaking back there. Like I said, with people kind of jumping off the fence, I feel like, there's definitely been a little bit more on the past few weeks. We're not seeing that data yet, but it certainly feels like it. So we'll see.
Absolutely. And what's like one point, and I don't want to keep everybody on too long, but what is like one point that you would give a buyer and one point you would give a seller in wrapping up?
About the market right now, or?
Yeah.
Don't wait. I think on either side, that's my advice to both buyers or sellers. So if you're thinking about selling, now is the time if you can. While the market is still, hot, especially in our area, and we're still seeing those multiple offers or full price offers. And on the buying side, the interest rates are going to rise. So adjust your expectations if you can, and don't sit out there too long because the prices are going to continue to go up. Interest rate could go up, and you're going to, that house is just going to be more expensive next year.
And rent is flipping. Holy cow.
In our area, it's ridiculous.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Rent is so expensive. And if you're talking about interest rates, I mean, when you're renting, you're not getting any of that money. You're paying 100% interest. It's going out the window to somebody else, and not a penny of it's going to you. And you're right, rent here. I think we're definitely obviously a beach town, but also UNCW is a big factor in that too, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I agree, and I think as a seller, as a seller, my one recommendation would be, it is still pretty much a seller's market. However, I don't believe it's the same as it was like 4 months ago. I think sellers are now more realistic with the price. I think sellers now are willing to negotiate some of those repairs. Sellers are not going, I want this and this and this and this. Now it's it's kind of more fun because now they're negotiating.
A little.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, better than they were. Right?
Exactly. So,
But fabulous. Thank you, Michelle, for
you're
being
welcome.
here with me and helping me with my nerves. Sorry you wouldn't have a drink with me because that would have really helped me. But
Sorry, showings. Got to get to that hot new listing before it's off the market. So
that is right. Well, I am going to continue to do this every Thursday at 5:00. Please join me, and I'm going to hope that I can get Michelle to tag along with me. But anyway, I look forward to helping everybody next Thursday. Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome. See y'all then.
Bye.